We will have 7 presentations. Please mute your microphones during the presentations. During the Q&A, please interact with us and reply to the questions we are going to address to you during the discussion. At any time, if you wanted to address a question, you can post it in the chat box or in the Q&A box, and we will reply to all these questions later on. Today, we will start with a brief introduction. Each one of you is kindly requested to introduce himself or herself, his or her organization, his or her country. Please post this in the chat box. Then we will introduce you to the objectives of the session. We will give you an overview of the tools that are being developed meanwhile. Then we will have 7 presentations by CSO organizations from the MENA region. We will be introducing the speakers and we will be hearing from them. Then a group discussion. Then reflections on how to develop a specific tool for the MENA region. So basically, we will talk about a component, not a tool. At the end, we will conclude with the next steps after this session. You are kindly requested in the chat box to post your name, your organization, your country. To be able to follow up with you after this session. A lot of people are posting their names. Thank you. Please keep up on adding your names, your organization, your country. What are the objectives of this session? We have 4 objectives. First, sharing practical experiences in the field of preparing public budgets that are sensitive to children's rights. Secondly, sharing challenges and promising practices, best practices from various countries in the region. Thirdly, exploring how civil society organizations can more effectively influence public budgets by using advocacy. Last but not least, we would be thinking about what is needed to develop a Middle East and North Africa specific component within the tools. Before giving the floor to the speakers, I will give you an overview of the tools that are being developed. As already mentioned, in addition to this session, we are developing a guide, a practical guide to analyze, to track, and to advocate for children-friendly budgets. These tools are being developed to support civil society organizations in budget-related advocacy with the help of Lubna Iskandar, who is a consultant on this topic. As for the tools, they are 3. First tool, a practical introductory practical guide for civil society that lacks experience on the topic of budgets and analysis. Second tool, a step-by-step practical guide for detailed budget and expenditure analysis. Here, it is a more advanced tool. Third tool, a practical guide to develop effective child rights budget advocacy strategies. We won't delve into the details of these tools, but this is for the tools that we are developing, and we'll be launching these tools in 2026. And most of you already know that We are collecting comments and opinions from CSOs in order to enhance these tools, and many of you already shared their views. We have collected the opinions and the material, and we are working at present on the development of the 3 tools, and we will be launching them in 2026. This is for the tools. When we talk about a MENA specific component, in addition to these 3 tools, we will have a MENA specific component focusing on the region, its specificities and challenges. We will get back to this point later on. I wanted just to clarify this idea. As for the presentations, we have 7 presentations for today. 4 countries present with us today. And we have 2 countries and CSOs coming from these 2 countries. We have from Morocco, Youth Association for Youth Partners, from Jordan, Baiti Association from Morocco Development Work Without Borders, Lebanon, An-Nahar Institute, Jordan, Qadr Association Palestine, Center for Lebanese Studies, Lebanon. I will be presenting every speaker before each presentation so that you can learn about the speaker. We move right now to the second, Mr. Judy Malak Judi, Head of Projects in the MENA region, responsible for advocacy and child engagement in Naba. She has a diploma in gender and research, and she has a lot of experience in the field of advocacy and children's rights. Malak, over to you. Naba Association. Thank you, Samira. I am really happy to be with you today and to work together as Manara Network in order to implement children's rights, and this is in partnership with the Child Rights Connect and Save the Children. And we are really happy to attend this session and to exchange experience on the tools that are being developed to make them actionable, in particular in the MENA region. And we are really glad to present our experience from Lebanon in order to enrich these new tools that are being developed. Very quickly, NABA is an association that was founded in 2001 in Lebanon. It works on children empowerment and engagement. We run the network of Manara, founded in 2009, that includes 12 organizations from 10 Arab countries in the MENA region, with the aim of promoting child rights-based protection systems and policies in the region. As CSOs in the MENA region, we are working in a very complex environment. We have long-term conflicts, service collapse, high risks, weak investment, insufficient investment, and the children are being affected by these crises. In Lebanon, we have a financial economic crisis alongside a political crisis that is unprecedented. We witnessed a service collapse of public services, the field of education, health protection. We have high rates of poverty, violence, and social risks, weak investment, insufficient investment in children within public budgets. Despite the existence of legal mechanisms to protect children, this is not reflected in public spending, as national or sectoral budgets do not include clear items or financial data allocated to children, and the impact of policies on children is not systematically analyzed. That is why there is a very serious gap at this level. 2% of the public budget dedicated to education, 3% is being dedicated to health, less than 1% dedicated to social protection. I'm talking about the percentage of GDP, and this is less than acceptable in comparison with international standards. In Lebanon, we had an experience between 2017 and 2019 in the field of children-friendly budgets at the local level in partnership with popular committees and municipalities. I'm talking about the local committees working and operating in Palestinian camps. And by analyzing these budgets, we found that the municipal budgets are very important. The public budgeting takes place in accordance with the public accounting systems. There are no specific items for children. There is no analysis of the impact of children and youth are not being engaged in prioritization processes or the children-friendly projects. They are not being included. That is why we are working on children-friendly municipal budgets within the legal framework governing municipalities in Lebanon. And we were able to achieve some practical solutions using the children lenses and involving children and youth in those budgets. And we had an experience on this topic with the municipalities. We did not work with the ministries because there was a political paralysis at all levels. And we found that the municipalities were closer to children and were able to implement the projects on the topic of children, and they were separate from the political tug of war in view of the political situation in Lebanon. And we should not forget that the municipalities are the connecting link between the grassroots level and the government level. So we started with the local change, and we worked with Save the Children, and we intervened at this level, and we have adopted the 4 steps. First, analysis of the situation with the leadership of children to identify violations and needs. Then we develop a tool for children-friendly municipalities. This tool encompasses 25 indicators for municipalities, and they show to which extent the work of municipalities is being appropriate on the topic of children's rights. Thirdly, we tried to connect the results to the planning. And fourth, we tried to engage children in evaluation and setting up of priorities. And we have found that municipalities had a problem in understanding the children's rights and understanding their own responsibilities and roles. There is a lack of data at the level of children, a lack of engagement of civil society organizations, a lack of experience on the topic of public budgeting for children. That is why we tried to work with municipalities at the level of analysis of budgets, linking budgets to children, and how to take practical measures in order to develop more just budgets for children. Of course, we took a sample of municipalities in order to work with other municipalities. We were able to connect with a lot of municipalities in order to establish standing committees for children, safe spaces for children, like playgrounds, public libraries, to develop like a children's committee within the municipality, develop safe spaces and playgrounds, strengthening oversight of schools. And we had a common action plan working on children, and we used the children lens at the level of services and at the level of planning. As for the challenges, they were really huge. I will try to summarize them with the severe financial crisis, lack of funding dedicated to municipalities, weak participation of youth and children in decision making, lack of awareness of legal rights toward the child, poor coordination with local institutions, political void, and war. However, there were opportunities, readiness of municipalities to embrace new tools, like international trend to support good governance, to support decentralization, administrative decentralization, and empowering municipalities to play a greater social role in building trust and community engagement. Despite our work at the local level, the municipalities are unable alone to face all these structural obstacles. That is why there was a need to coordinate at the local and government levels to enact new laws in order to clarify the municipalities' responsibilities and roles. And there is a need for a public budgeting for children while integrating children less in national planning. And there is a need for coordination between line ministries and municipalities. Furthermore, on the topic of public budgeting for children, we need an alliance with CSOs. We need community engagement. We need CSOs engagement with other stakeholders from municipalities, line ministries, and other stakeholders. That is all for our association, and thank you once again. Thank you, Malak.
Now we will move to the next presentation, and if you have any questions, of course, you can ask them during the discussion session. Now we will move to the third presentation by the Arab Network for Civic Education, presented by Hanin Al-Fayouni, who is responsible of the resource mobilization and youth mobilization in Jordan, and a moderator in the program we are leading in Jordan, providing psychosocial support, community building, power, women empowerment and engagement. Madam Hanin, please go ahead. Thank you very much, everyone. I am really very happy to be with you today and to be able to share our experience in Jordan, mainly pertaining to budgeting. As you have mentioned, I'm Hanin Al-Fayoumi from the Arab Network for Civic Education. I am not sure if you can see my screen or not. Please confirm. Can you all see the presentation in front of you? Yes, indeed, we can see the presentation clearly. Thank you. So, Anhur is an Arab big network. It's an independent CSO working on unifying and coordinating the effort in the realm of education, working on human rights, citizenship, working on impacting policies and procedures, formal and informal regulatory bodies to enhance human dignity and rights. It is comprised of 45 NGOs from 9 different countries: Egypt, Lebanon, Algeria, Iraq, Palestine, Jordan, Morocco, Yemen, Tunis, and Tunisia. We have 7 members in the board committee. So, as a part of our priorities, because we work on human rights, so we do enhance the right to education, and this is why we were able to create a mechanism pertaining to budgeting. And our NGO was chosen to represent Jordan at the international level. We are working in a participatory workshop. This mechanism really aims at preparing the budget, analyzing it, and follow up on it to ensure just and comprehensive education for all and qualitative education for all. This is the fruit of a very good coordination with the inline ministry, which really reflects its legitimacy in involving young people in education. Why this tool is totally unique and different? First of all, because it is based on a participatory approach. It did not only build the capacities of young people, but it is also very much user friendly. And because it is a participatory approach, it enhanced ownership, which made, of course, the funding an easier step to achieve. This tool also enhanced the skills and knowledge of young people through enhancing their understanding of budgeting and financial analysis tools. And to understand the resource mobilization and to better understand expenditure. It also enhanced decision making, transparency, awareness. Also, this tool enhanced the evidence-based participation through enhancing and enabling young people to use advocacy tools based on evidence and to increase their skills and capacities, mainly pertaining to active young policies. I would like to give you an example. During last week, for instance, we organized a discussion workshop during which we discussed several issues. So we also based our discussions on indicators, which means that we were really able to influence the voice of young people in national discussions around education. Now we will talk about developing this tool. So, as I said, we are a member of the International Campaign for Education. We were able to review the in-house tools. We chose four pillars to work on. We worked on different indicators, and then we chose 20 young people, 12 girls and 8 boys to participate in this workshop. We organized a two-day workshop to understand how we can develop this tool, how we can make it available and appropriate and very much context-based for young people in Jordan. How we chose the young people to participate in this training, they were chosen based, of course, on the geographic diversity, so on all the provinces in Jordan, and also based on their background, meaning their skills and expertise in programs, campaign, advocacy, participation in political discussions, and discussions on public budgeting. So it is very important to know that the voice of young people was not represented in these discussions previously. So this tool really enabled young people to build their own capacities, to analyze their skills, and to build on their knowledge, to learn more about also expenditure and budgeting. So, as I said, we have chosen four different criteria, four A's. So, we were talking about the four different pillars. Sorry, Hanin, you still only have 1 more minute. So, we have detailed analysis lens. Of course, accessibility, acceptability, adaptability, and availability. And this is very important to talk about human rights and financial analysis. So these four A's are extremely important. As I have mentioned, availability, meaning that education should be available and the personnel should be skilled. Accessibility, all those who want to learn should be able to access education without financial or social barriers. Adaptability, meaning that it should be inclusive. Acceptability, it means that it should be culturally acceptable. And context-based, safe, respect diversity. So it is very important to also now tackle the four S's, which is very much linked to the budget itself in an exhaustive manner. Is education getting the needed share, meaning that the national budget, is it really taken into consideration education and concentrating the needed budget size? The resources, are they enough to meet the needs? Sensitivity, is the expenditure just and equitable vis-à-vis the vulnerable population? Scrutiny, is this budget under scrutiny by the community, and is it held accountable? Very fast, I will give you some palpable and tangible examples when we talked about using the four S's. First of all, it is very important, of course, to collect the needed data. So we took into consideration, of course, the capital expenditure, the operational expenditure, and the programs targeting vulnerable population and expenditures on curriculum quality and safety. Second step, it was about taking tangible example for every criteria. Let's talk, for instance, about accessibility or adaptability. It is very important for the curriculum to be flexible, taking into consideration the different factors, the context, and most importantly, the needs of the targeted population. We also tackled the alternative education, such as psychosocial support. In terms of emergencies, also we worked on advocacy, like training young men on responding, to emergencies and improve investment in education in such scenarios. Third step was about really analyzing the funding gaps and recommendations. Where is the expenditure? What are the gaps, and how we can tackle the needs? So we are now still implementing this tool as a pioneer project, and hopefully the real implementation will take place next year. So the challenges that we are currently encountering are, of course, limited based on our wide experience in the Ministry of Education. The main challenges were that it was a bit difficult to access the governmental parties, and the financial data were limited. It was difficult also to access stakeholders. Transparency was limited and mainly regarding to sharing financial and sensitive data. So for the next step, based on the trainings where the young people participated in and based on the skills that they enhanced. So we really want to enable them to present the results of this analysis, to present policy papers, to sit in discussions within the parliament and with the Ministry of Education, and also to launch digital advocacy campaigns. As I have said, we are still in the tentative phase, and hopefully this will be the last session before we reflect on the real challenges and before we base our implementation on the lesson learned and the best lessons. Sorry for being that long. Thank you very much, Haneen, and thank you for presenting this tool. I am sorry that I rushed you because we are very tight on time, and hopefully we will be following up with you regarding the implementation for the next step. And now we will move to the fourth presentation by Qadr in Palestine. George Mansour is the head of the programs in Qadir. He has a long experience in advocacy, community advocacy, and enhancing transparency in public budget in Palestine. Thank you very much, Samira, and hello, everyone. And thank you for Child Rights Connect and Manara Network. Thank you for this opportunity. And thank you for the tools that we have worked on, which was extremely important resources. So I think that it is very important really to have such sessions to build on our different experiences and to exchange our experiences and also how we can build on what we have learned and, as I said, exchange our experiences. So in my intervention, we'll be delving into our own experience in terms of public budgeting and how we can really make sure that it is meeting children's needs and also including the most vulnerable, such as children with disabilities, displaced persons, refugees, and other vulnerable populations. However, allow me first of all to thank you, Samira, for the introduction. My name is George Mansour from Palestine, Qadir NGO. It is an NGO, as I said, that is mainly focusing on children, young people, and women. We work in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, and we mainly work on enhancing budget transparency. First of all, Palestine is mainly composed of young people. 43% of the population are young people. However, you are very well aware that we are living in a challenging situation because we are living under occupation. We are living in a situation of genocide in Gaza and human rights violations, which means that we are really encountering a lot of challenges when it comes to providing services to young people and to enhancing their rights. It is also very important to look exhaustively at this topic, mainly that children are considered to be one of the most vulnerable category. And therefore, it is very important to look from an exclusion lens and to understand the different needs and differences. So, of course, talking about inclusion lens is extremely important. And here I would really like to emphasize on the participation of the CSOs in Palestine. Based on our own experience, the CSOs, of course, have a very long experience in providing services and supervising mainly at the level of performance and public stakeholders. I cannot enhance enough on the importance of transparency, especially when we talk about children, and finally, equity when it comes to addressing barriers faced by children with disability, refugees displaced, and those in marginalized communities and high-risk Gaza, especially those who are living now in Gaza and the West Bank, because children are living in exceptional situation. So it is very important when we talk about budgeting to talk about planning, preparation, and scrutiny. Of course, as an NGO, we do rely on documentation engagement, which is extremely very important. So we do allow children to express their views and to share the details of their lives and the needs and the challenges that are facing. So we are working collectively, really to voice out the concerns of the children and to enhance their participation. At the national and international level, we are working with UN agencies to enhance the participation of the children and really to allow them to participate and to share their views. Another pillar of importance is the performance and commitment or engagement of public stakeholders and especially following up and surveilling their work. And we will talk about more details about this topic. So we have a national network comprised of a number of CSOs in Palestine, and of course, Qadir is part of this network. We are working on several topics in several sectors. In our Palestinian context, we are specialized as compared to other stakeholders, meaning that we work collectively to determine the priorities, the topics that we will be working on. We do participate in preparing the public budget. We work with the online ministries, mainly the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Finance. We do present our own analysis pertaining to the public budget and the laws. It is also very important to talk about monitoring public spending and how we can really enhance participation and representation of most vulnerable categories, mainly children with disabilities, displaced people, refugees, and children. As I have mentioned, we are part of a national network. We are specialized, meaning that if we really want to achieve impactful efforts in the framework of public budgeting and how much they do meet children's needs, it is very important really to capacitate the local stakeholders to enhance their skills and capacities. And we do believe that we are able to have an impact at several levels. First of all, at the level of legal and policy frameworks in Palestine, based on the deep understanding and deep analysis that we have, because at the end of the day, we are working at the level of advocacy and community participation, which means that we are working within the framework of the international conventions um, in which Palestine is a party. Second of all, law on public budget preparation, meaning that we work on the importance of data sharing, of publishing the national budget in quarter and mid-year and annual reports. We also work on budget disclosure, which is very much linked to the commitment. We do also analyze the budget and the impact of the expenditure on programs, on different services, because as I have mentioned in Palestine, we are living in exceptional circumstances under the occupation. We are living in a context of crimes, violations, genocide, which has all, of course, toll on children. It is also very important to talk about sustainability. So the CSOs have a strength point, and we were able to analyze and input in public budgets of several ministries, meaning that we were able to include children's voice. As I have said, we have like a national committee which which guarantees the participation of children. In this chart, we see the key sectors budget in 2025. For instance, we have a Ministry of Education, Ministry of Social Development, Ministry of Education and Higher Education, and this is a new um, um, ministry we are currently working on, Ministry of Interior and Security Forces. As you see, of course, the Ministry of Interior and Security Forces have a budget that is higher than education, and this is where our roles comes in, meaning that we should really have an impact when working with public stakeholders, meaning that we should have a more fair distribution to the public budget, and we really need to meet children's needs and rights. And in Palestine, we are faced with a scarcity of resources, in addition to the Israeli practices, mainly withholding 60% of the money coming. Without delving into much more details, I stop here. Thank you very much, George. And sorry for rushing you once again. And now I will move to the presentation number 5 by Lebanese Studies Center, Lebanon. presented by Nama. Nama, he's a researcher in education policies. He has worked on this topic for many years, and he has a lot of studies on education and public expenditure, especially during crisis. Hello, thank you. Can you hear me?
I will not speak for a long time, but there is a plethora of studies conducted by the Center for Lebanese Studies while working on the cost of education in Lebanon as a Center for Lebanese Studies. We have seen efficient spending, inefficient spending, effective and non-effective spending. And here I am repeating what Judy has just said. The budget dedicated to education is around 2 to 3% of the public budget. There is efficient spending on education, and there is spending on educational facilities, building, on supporting schools. As for real-time spending, it is no more than 1.5%. You can see as well the other sectors where we can find children. As for the Ministry of Agriculture, there is part dedicated to education. We have under the Ministry of Labor, the exploitation of children, the work of children in high-risk sectors. As you can see in the slide, we can find the children on all these ministries and sectors. There are other aspects to be considered, like culture, entertainment, health protection, social protection, security, and here comes the role of municipalities, here comes the role of families and household. All those are connected to children. Furthermore, we have children in emergency settings and armed conflicts. Here we are speaking about children during the recent war. Yes, the government has established an emergency plan without earmarking any budget for this, and it was up to the international donors and the CSOs to launch initiatives to organize the shelters and accommodation. Here we can find in practical terms a big problem. All these sectors like education, social affairs, health, labor, agriculture, these are sectors directly concerned by the rights of children and by the protection of children. However, they lack a holistic approach, putting children at the center. Children require a holistic intervention in different directions. So we need to move from children to education, to social affairs, to social protection, to work, and not the vice versa. Usually, our public budgets are being earmarked, then they are being distributed on children. While the contrary should occur, we need to give priority to the protection of children, and we need to earmark a budget to child protection, and we need to collect real-time data. For example, data about the dropout rates from schools. 1/3 of children in Lebanon are outside the educational sector. I'm talking here about Lebanese children and non-Lebanese children. More than 100,000 Lebanese children are out of school, and these are dangerous indicators. And UNICEF has established a report on this topic. We lack real-time data. We lack a unified government policy on the topic of children. Why don't we have a ministry for children? Why don't we have a ministry for human rights or for children's rights? This is very weird. And we need to have comprehensive social protection systems for children, and we need follow-up mechanisms. As for the issue of funding, the basic or fundamental funding should take place at the level of the government. It should be from the public budget in order to ensure sustainability, in addition to UN agencies and international organizations, depending on emergency programs. As for the funding from international organizations, it is not very clear how to extract the outputs from 10 or 15 years of funding from UNICEF or other donor countries. Because at the end of the day, we are in a situation that is worse than before. How can we extract the outputs of such support? And what about the deliverables, the low deliverables at this level? In addition to this, there are high risks pertaining to the interventions by CSOs in order to fill the void as a result of the absence of the government. The CSOs are not responsible for opening schools, are not responsible for the delivery of educational services. Their main duty is to do oversight, to do follow-up, to do monitoring, to volunteer in specific cases, and to participate in the enactment of laws. The CSOs should be partners in the enactment of laws, and this is not happening. They are preventing CSOs from engaging in law enactment in our region, in our Arab countries. Justice towards children is lacking in the Arab countries. There is a lack of vision, a lack of understanding, and we need to rectify this. Children are the future of our country, of the MENA region. As such, we need to equip children with what is needed in order to ensure the perennity of humanity. Thank you, Mr. Nami, for this valuable study. If you have any questions, kindly post them in the chat box, or please wait till the group discussion.
Now we will move to the seventh presentation, Partners Jordan, presented by Mrs. Hala Shwayati, official representative of Partners Jordan. And please tell me if you can see the presentation. I'm sharing my screen. Yes, thank you, Samira. Hello, everyone. I am Partners Jordan. And now I will give you an overview of the child-friendly budget in Jordan and how we linked it to our long experience in this realm. Samira, please, you will do next on the slide. Yes. Yes, please, whenever you want me to move to the next slide, please let me know, okay? Thank you. First of all, I would like to speak in brief because you are all very much experienced in this subject. I will talk about IOBS and how we can enhance transparency, accountability, participation, and monitoring. We are partners in Jordan and we work on this topic. When we talk about the budget that is child friendly. We are talking about a budget that really reflects children's rights and the needs of the children and their right in safety and education. Next, please, Samira. Of course, when we talk about open budget, we talk about transparency. Why is it important to have transparency when we talk about open budget survey? Transparency is important because we do know that this type of budget is very much linked to data. And we do know that the children and young people do not have chances to talk about their priorities. So this is why it's important really to monitor this budget. We do also have documents pertaining to public budgeting. And we should at least have 4 out of these 8 documents. We do have documents and data linked to um, participation, final report, monitoring report, transparency report, auditing report. Next, I will talk about transparency and child-friendly budget. Of course, as I have mentioned, transparency is of utmost importance, especially as a criteria of OBS, because it enables the public to have access to information in the central government and in the public expenditure. So in Jordan, we do agree that the score is still low because a country should have a score of 61 to uh, be considered as transparent at the level of public budget. What are the indicators that are impacting OBS? Are the resource mobilization pertaining to children clear? Are the education programs safe and determined? Do we have citizen guide that is child friendly? In Jordan, we do understand that the public participation is a big gap. The score here is 4%, which means that it is extremely low, knowing that the general average is 15%, which means that it is really a big gap. We do need more participation in public platforms and the participation of CSOs in this regard. Somebody is speaking. I'm sorry, I can hear an echo. So, at the level of monitoring, children-friendly budget, Jordan took the score of 39 in the latest survey. It is a low score. However, we do see concerted efforts today at the level of parliamentarian committees to enhance this point. And to enhance shadow reports. The citizen guide, we do understand that this is a very important tool because in 2025, it worked with UN Women, GNCW, USAID, and the Ministry of Finance to reflect new tools, mainly pertaining to children-friendly budgets, and mainly pertaining to scrutinizing and following on public expenditures in programs for children. So we have programs now that are implemented in 4 different ministries: Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Work, and finally Ministry of Political Development. And we do understand that the aim really is to have children-friendly budgets. And these airline ministries are working on creating children-friendly budgets. As for one of the most important projects that we worked on is Qudra or empowerment, and this is a project to enhance the capacity of civil society in Jordan to have a participatory role in public budgets. It is a project that we are currently implementing with the EU. Through this project, we are currently able to create alliances to monitor children-friendly budgets and to understand the resources and the challenges. One of the most important recommendations are to publish the priorities and to publish our own assessment in Jordan. And we also want to include, please go back to the slide. Yes, we also want to include the results of the children-friendly budgets in end-of-year reports and audit reports. It is also very important to create consultation groups and consult with the NGOs specialize in children's rights. And finally, it is important also to include the criteria in several discussions and parliamentarian work, and also to enhance the roles of NGOs. At the end of the day, it is very important to enhance these approaches and to work on the education, health, and protection of children. Thank you very much, Hala. We only still have 5 more minutes in our session, unfortunately. You all talked about challenges in the MENA region, mainly pertaining to the political situation, lack of transparency, lack of data pertaining to budgeting. Do you think that this is a trait only characteristic of the MENA region, or do you think that this is a global? So, do you think that it will be of help to add a special element lacked linked to the MENA region in the tools you are currently using? So, do you think it is of use if we add this element? I can see that some people are already voting in Menti or writing in the chat box. So please continue your votes so that you can take the number of votes. First of all, I would like to thank once again all the presenters. I'm sorry, Hanan, that you were not able to present due to technical issue. I would like to thank you all really for your active participation. If you have any question or any clarification, please do send an email. Now I would be sending a follow-up email on this session with the presentation and the recording of this session. And we will also be talking about the next steps. As mentioned, some tools will be officially released to public next year, and we will invite you, of course, to disseminate these tools. All the presenters today, of course, talked about success stories and inspiring stories about how we can work with different ministries and how we can work on public budgets in the MENA region. And I would really like this tool to be useful for everyone. And of course, we should always update it. And we really want you to include this tool in your yoga. We really want you to help us disseminating this new tool, and hopefully in the next step, we will work more on this tool. Once again, I am really sorry that time was tight and sorry for the technical glitches. As I said, of course, we will follow up through emails and we are always open to receive an email from your part. And basically, of course, we will always follow up on this work. And hopefully, in the next session, we will hear more about your different experiences. Thank you very much, Agnes. I don't know if you are here, if you want to share anything, Agnes, maybe to conclude. If you want to share anything before we wrap up, Agnes, can you hear me? Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a very good day. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.